Hello, and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I thought the last one was the final chapter.
And I'm Gary, and today we're going to review and discuss Friday the 13th 5, A New Beginning. Released in 1985. Written by Martin Kittrosser, David Cohen, and Danny Steinmann, and directed by Danny Steinmann. Ian, why don't you give us the synopsis for part 5?
Well, I think at least 6 or 7 years after the last Friday the 13th movie, Tommy Jarvis has been moving from home to home, suffering from post-traumatic stress brought on by facing Jason Voorhees. He finds a little place staying with some troubled teens, but after one of the teens is murdered by an axe, we start to see a familiar hockey mask wielding maniac walking around killing people. Is this the spirit of Jason back, or has Tommy got a secret he doesn't want to reveal?
So, of course, after the hugely financial success of the previous Friday, they were like, well, I guess we can make more. We left the door open to tell more stories in this franchise. We don't need Jason. We don't need the iconic hockey mask. Oh, actually, we do.
Yeah, we do.
We need to keep reminding you that you're watching a Friday the 13th movie by having Jason pop up here and there throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then we're led to believe, is it a Jason, or is it a copycat killer, or is it, as the previous film's ending implied, that Tommy Jarvis is now the new Jason?
Yeah. Can you be the new Jason if your name's Tommy?
Well, yeah.
Wouldn't you be the new Tommy?
Well, not until sequels later.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
Now, Ted White was asked to play the part of Jason once again, but he was like, yeah, no thanks.
No thanks.
Like, after the traumatic experience I had on the last film, I'm not coming back. Even though he went on to say he regretted not coming back to reprise the role this time around. But I do find it interesting that a lot of the actors, when they auditioned for this role, they auditioned for a film called Repetition.
They did.
I mean, but yeah, they thought they were auditioning for Repetition, this film about these kids that are dealing with post-traumatic stress and trying to overcome it.
Yeah.
And so the lead actor, John Shepherd, actually went and did volunteer work at a state mental hospital for months in preparation for this role, only to find out that they were going to be in the 5th installment of a slasher franchise. They were gutted, to say the least.
Yeah. I felt bad. Like, John Shepherd, each one of the Tommy Jarvis movies has a different actor playing Tommy Jarvis, which I think, looking back on now, kind of works.
Well, they did actually want Corey Feldman back.
Yeah.
And they did actually get him for a dream sequence right at the beginning of the film, which I believe they filmed in Corey Feldman's neighbor's back garden.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman rose to fame at this point and was already working on the Goonies.
Yeah.
So they literally needed a replacement actor.
He just couldn't get out of that. And in fairness, I mean, Goonies is the bigger project in comparison to doing Friday the 13th Part 5. You know, if you're an actor, you want to go for that big movie, not just some no-name repeated movie. But we do get that really cool kind of opening sequence where it's absolutely pissing down with rain. You know, they really went hell leather with the rain machine in this sequence. And we follow Corey Feldman, you know, walking up to Jason Voorhees' grave. Now, the way that they have the grave like that, it's very dreamlike. Like you could be led to believe that it's real, but looking at the grave, nobody would bury Jason Voorhees like that. Like, unless you were a fan of fucking Jason Voorhees and wanted to give him a good burial. But, you know, Corey hears some voices, he runs off, and these two teens turn up and start to unearth Jason's coffin. They're really desperate to see the body. They open up the lid of the coffin. They see inside. There he is, Jason, worms on his mask, you know, looking dead. But ho-ho! He's carrying a fucking knife and a machete, and he nails both of them. You know, and just kind of, it's such a cool shot of him climbing out that grave.
It is great. Yeah, and I just love that Jason was buried with his machete. so he can easily dispatch of any that come across his grave.
Well, that's what I mean. Whoever buried Jason really had care and consideration. They gave him a nice grave. They even put a plot down there so people could find it. Little stones dotting around. Gave him 2 weapons.
Yeah.
Even left a mask on his face.
Yeah.
Nobody buries a serial killer. No, just leave the mask here. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, Jason wanders over to Tommy Jarvis, and Tommy kind of wakes up, and we transition then to modern Tommy.
Yeah.
So it's like, at least we go from Corey Feldman to John Shepherd in one shot. It's like, okay, now we know who we're following here.
Yeah. And John wakes up in the back of his car. He's looking red-eyed. He's looking like he hasn't slept very well. And he's heading to this new place, Pinehurst, which, like, the movie doesn't really tell us if we're still in Crystal Lake territory, or really, like, well, it doesn't even really tell us where we are. Like, number 4 didn't, but we kind of just assumed that we must be near Crystal Lake because Jason was so close by after he left the morgue. In this one, it's got to be at least 6 or 7 years after Tommy has grown up and gotten to this point. So, like, Jason is forgotten. Wherever we are, it's not really supposed to matter. But Tommy comes up to the house and he meets Pam and Matt, the 2 adult leaders who are in charge of this place. And like I know the writing's not great, okay, but like it just shows you the irresponsibility of people trying to take care of teens with kind of emotional problems back in the 80s, because we barely hear any of their names, barely hear any of their backgrounds other than Tommy.
Right.
The movie is just like, look, this is your main guy. Everybody else, if you've been watching the 4 movies leading up to this point, are going to be dead by the end.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, I do think at least there's less characters in this one.
Yes.
There's not as much fodder. So we do get to spend a little bit more time with each of the characters.
But there's more padding.
There is also twice as much padding. There's
Yeah.
still the usual teens wandering around, coupling up with each other, drinking, taking drugs, and having sex. Now, I don't know if this is entirely true, but Frank Mancuso Jr., who's sort of like the producer of all of these Friday sequels, deliberately hired Danny Steinmann for his previous work in exploitation and porn.
Yeah, he did Savage Streets with Linda Blair.
That's right.
It's like not a movie I would say would...
No, but I think what Steinmann offered was a certain level of schlock and sleaze. And with the formula of Friday the 13th getting to this point, they figured they would get a sleazy director in to sleaze up the franchise, because that is where it was getting its notoriety with the boobs and the gore. So it was like, let's hone in on that.
Yeah, but it...
And when this film released, like, the producer was like, it's like the golden times of the franchise. It's milking the money. However, when this film did release, it did make tons and tons of money, but it was also the noted mark in the decline.
Yes.
No sequel past this one would make as much as the earlier films in the franchise, because this one out-sleazed them all, but also put a lot of people off actually wanting to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the story, which we will also now get into.
Yeah. Well, like I said, number 4... I have personal feelings too, because I watched them when I was young. But I knew at that point that when I was comparing them to the Nightmare on Elm Street series and the Halloween series or the Critters series or other horror movies that I was watching in the 90s, leading into 2000s, I just knew that 4 was kind of the pinnacle of where we got into. It was so good, and then 5 just completely dropped off the deep end. You know, the focus is heavily on Tommy, and after the last movie, we're led to believe that Tommy is, you know, damaged and he's broken, and you know, there's going to be something that sets him off and pushes him over the edge.
Well, it's the
But
fact
it doesn't.
That it doesn't. No, and he only has 24 words
Yeah.
of dialogue the entire film. Now, the actor does a good job with his facial expressions. He does a good job with his body language, with his, like, you know, playing with the zipper. Like, all of the stuff and all of the research and prep that he did for the character does come through.
Yeah.
But, like, there's still not enough here to really get into this damaged character.
Well, it also doesn't really make any sense when you put it in context with the entirety of the story. And obviously, we don't want to spoil it too early for those of you who haven't seen it. But let's just get to it. So Tommy moves into this house and he sees the different characters, and we get introduced to Joey, who is the kind of overweight, you know, kid who's eating chocolate, and he's trying to be helpful, but he just gets in the way. And you know people like that. They're always trying to help, but they just don't know how to do it any better. So he tries to help two of the girls with the washing and puts his chocolate-covered hands all over the white sheets. So they get immediately upset with him, and he goes off and he goes and speaks to Vic, who is a psychopath with a fucking axe. Like, who said he was a good idea for him to chop wood? I don't fucking know. But you can just tell that Vic is, like, on edge, like, all the time. And Joey tries to kind of talk to him. Vic's not having any of it. He puts his chocolate bar on the log and says, "There you go, Vic," trying to be friendly. And Vic's just like, I'm going to chop it in half. I'm so angry. And Joey gives him shit and tells him he's not very likable. And he turns away. And that's when Vic loses it and nails Joey in the back with an axe. Now, I was very surprised because I remember watching this as a kid, that I thought that you watched him whack him a good couple of times. And then when I went back and I was watching it for the movie, like, he gets, like, the camera angles one shot to the back of Joey, and then we literally just watch Vic kind of
swinging away at nothing.
Yeah, and we don't see anything until the body reveal later.
Yeah, when the paramedic reveals the sheet, and we can see, like, there's an arm been cut off, and it's like, oh, he actually cut him to pieces.
Yeah.
But
the kids at the home, they're all pretty much fucking traumatized. The police turn up.
Vic gets arrested, put in the back of the car.
Yeah. We've got Sheriff Tucker, played by Marco St. John. He's turned up a couple of times to talk to Matt and Pam, because supposedly a couple of the teens like to go and have sex on the Hubbard farm, which is kind of next door. And we see Ma Hubbard and her son Junior turn up on the dirt bike, giving the kids shit. "Oh, if you ever turn up on my farm again, I'm going to fucking blast you with my gun."
Now, for me, I'm just like, so we've just gone from this horrific murder to these comic relief characters that are so over the top.
That's it, my final words.
You're like, tonally, where does this film want to be?
Yeah.
What is it trying to be?
Well, I think that's, like, this point of the series, they weren't too sure what they were trying to do. Like the first three movies had a dark tone to it, that you didn't really notice the cheesy jokes until they were, like, right there in your face, and they weren't really that bad. The next bunch of movies, the story and the kills are just not that great. That it's the cheesy jokes that make you remember the film more than anything else. And it's really bad. You know, you should have just kept the tone dark. You know, yes, I understand teens joke and mess around, but keep it in the context of the conversation. Not just some fucking no-name redneck woman giving her son shit all the time. Like, we cut back to their house, don't we? We cut back
several times.
We come back to their house at one point and he's eating slop.
You big dildo. Eat your fucking slop. Ain't I make the best goddamn stew in the whole wide world?
Best goddamn stew in the whole wide world, Mama.
And she's like, "Are you really loving my slop?" And he's like, "Yeah, Ma, I'm loving your slop." I'm like, "Oh, Ma,
I'm gonna cut this chicken to bits."
I hate these characters
so much.
Literally, this no-name wanderer turns up at the door. "Hello." And she's like, "What do you want?" "I need a meal." "Well, you can clean up that chicken coop." "Okay." He walks off.
Yeah, well, I guess they're just like, red herring, could this guy be the new Jason? Is he the new killer? Like, no, it was Vic. We just saw him But no, but obviously,
Yeah.
there's going to be another killer in the movie that's not Vic.
Well, this is it. Like the first time I watched this movie, I was kind of in the belief that it was Jason coming back. That's what I wanted. But the camera work tries to subtly, but doesn't do it very well, focus on characters that we have no calling for at all. I'm looking at you, Roy. I'm looking at you.
Well, the paramedic?
Yeah.
Oh, leave him alone.
Oh, okay, I will. Obviously, he's got nothing to do with this story.
No.
But then the killings start up. And after we see the body get taken away, we come across these two greasers. Like, when is this film set? We've got these two leather jacket wearing fucking greasers.
But their cars broke down.
Broke down in the middle of the fucking woods. Are they near Crystal Lake? Are they near a town? I don't know. Like, we even see the mayor at one point turn up at the sheriff. Like, this is a small town. I'm like, I've seen nothing.
Right.
Nothing. The town in Halloween 4 was bigger than this town.
Well, we've just got to have an angry mayor in the scene somewhere.
We do. We've got to have an angry mayor.
Jason Voorhees? You're out of your fucking mind. You've been out in the sun too long. Jason Voorhees is dead.
But the two greasers are at their car. I do recognise one of them from A Girlfriend from Hell and Hamburger Hill. And he gets quite a cool death because his buddy goes off to go toilet. I don't know. His buddy goes like, I'm going to leave you to fix the car and I'm going to fuck off for 5 minutes. And while he fucks off, somebody turns up with a flare and jams it in the greaser's mouth.
Pete!
Which I was like, well, that's not a bad special effect. I mean,
Yeah.
Sadly, you haven't brought Tom Savini back again.
No.
You really should have had him on every fucking movie. And then the other greaser comes back and sees his buddy working on the car and is just waiting there like, come on, the car, I need the car working, And then Jason slits his throat and leaves the bodies there. Jason doesn't bother to hide the bodies in this movie.
No. Well, is it Jason? No. Is it resurrected Jason or is it a new killer? We still don't know yet.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Definitely Tommy. It's got to be Tommy.
It's got to be.
All clues point to Tommy.
I mean, he's hallucinating Jason.
Right.
But I have to check this. I'm going to have to go back and check this. Is the Jason that he's hallucinating wearing the mask that we recognize, where the Jason that we see in the movie is wearing the other mask we recognize?
Interesting.
Because I didn't actually check that. I have to go back and check that. If you've seen the film and you're unsure, the mask that Jason is wearing in this movie has blue arrows on it.
And it doesn't have the damage from the previous movies either, like the wound to the top.
And on the other previous mask, they were red arrows
Yes.
pointing in different directions. And this is the only movie where it's actually a blue mask. So
it's not Jason.
it might not be. I'm not entirely sure.
So the film devolves into the usual formula where we have, sex scenes and then more kills. We have this very boobalicious lady.
Oh, yes.
Revealing it all. And then Jason wanders along with these giant shears and plunges them right into her eyes.
Yeah, I always thought he cut off her head, but it's when
we see the next shot where it's all bloodied and
bloodied
horrible.
on the eyes. Yeah.
It's like, again, it's implied what happened, but it's still like when you're thinking about the actual death, it's pretty horrendous.
And that's what I was finding with these Friday the 13th movies, especially like we've just done 4 and 5. It's like they really know how to angle a kill so that your imagination does all the work.
Yes.
And it's only until after that you kind of see it, you go, oh, it's just a special effect. But your mind's really just done a lot of the work for you. You immediately know what the impact feels like to a meat cleaver to the face or a machete to the chest or these little things. Like even when a character gets killed off screen, your brain goes, oh, he's fucking crushed this skull, broken him in half. Because we even get that moment where not Jason turns up at a restaurant, doesn't he? The guy, one of the ambulance attendants, has driven up to pick up his girlfriend Lana, and while she's inside getting changed, Jason fucking nails the boyfriend.
Yeah, while he's doing his cocaine.
Yeah, and kills him off. So then when the girlfriend comes up and she sees the cocaine, she sees Jason and she gets taken out as well. And the bodies are just being laid. They're just being left there.
Yeah,
You know,
bodies just piling up everywhere.
Yeah, we keep seeing the cops coming across, and they keep coming across these bodies, and they're unsure what's going on. They even speak out loud like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And Roy has no clue. Roy has no idea what's going on. Just in case you needed to know who that was talking in the background, that's Roy.
He's innocent, clearly.
I did recognize the sheriff's deputy. It really threw me because I heard the guy's voice and I looked at the uniform and I'm like, who the fuck are you? I know you. And it turned out it's the dad from Ready to Rumble, the WCW wrestling movie. I was like, hey, it's him. It must be the uniform. But it threw me as well with this movie that Tommy seems to just disappear a lot. And though you are supposed to believe that it might be him doing the kills, it's so blatantly not, because it's not like he's disappeared. The director's just not using him.
Yeah.
So even though he's not in these moments, I just know he's back at the house with some of the other kids.
Hanging out with Reggie, you know.
Yeah, Reggie the Reckless, who loves making special effects and puppets and stuff like that. So I like to kind of believe that, oh, maybe this is a resurrected Jason, you know. But when you see this Jason in action, he doesn't act like a Jason. You know, he doesn't magically teleport anywhere or have some super kind of strength. He's literally just killing people with whatever weapons he has to stand, which is cool. It feeds into the Jason lore. It's just, it doesn't work as well. And so, like, for example, when we get like Reggie the Reckless, who wants to go and meet his brother Demon, who's staying at some caravan park, and he drives down there, and I recognise the actor. Wasn't he in Return of the Living Dead Part 1?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I recognised him.
Yeah,
from
it's
that.
a great moment here where he's just like, hey, I haven't seen you in ages. Here's my girlfriend. Oh, here's your girlfriend. Here, eat these enchiladas.
Yeah, I've got all this food left over. I'm a bum in life, but, you know, I'd love to see my brother. But they take Tommy with them as well. And Tommy is confronted by Junior, who's driving around on his bike, decides to give Tommy shit, tells him that he's going to scare him. And we'd already seen that Tommy doesn't like to be scared. He'd already beaten up one of the boys back at the home. So when Junior tries to scare Tommy, Tommy beats the shit out of him, and Junior just gets on his bike and rides home to Mummy. Mummy's gonna kill you all.
They hurt me, Mom! They hurt me!
Starts doing laps around the house, screaming for his mummy. And mummy's still making, whatever time of night it is, she's still making his slop.
Yeah.
But he ends up riding around, and then bump, decapitated.
Yeah, no, so not Jason had previously, just before this, after Tommy and Reggie and Pam had all disappeared from Demon, he'd taken out Demon and his girlfriend. So this not Jason is fucking everywhere, just killing anyone and everyone for
no reason.
Yeah.
Whether they've had sex, taken drugs, or drinking, doesn't matter. If you're in the way, you're just getting killed.
You're there. So it's like Demon decides that he needs to go to a toilet, and as he's sat in the toilet at the caravan park, his girlfriend starts shaking it. She's like, haha, and they start singing to each other. So you're like, oh, this is really nice. And then she goes quiet because she's had her throat slit for singing.
Right.
You know? And then Demon, he's inside the toilet, and this metal pole just starts to keep coming through until finally it impales him right through the gut. And I'm like, why? Like, what did this guy ever do to you? Not Jason.
Walked onto the set. Yeah, and it's not long before we're just revealed. We get this one shot where it's the last survivors in the house, and Pam's like, I've got to go, I'll be back soon. And the camera just rolls in onto them all, and I'm like, well, you were all dead.
Yeah.
And we follow them one by one as Jason starts picking them off.
Yeah. Well, he'd already killed Mother Hubbard back at the farm as well after he decapitated brother. So that's what threw me off, because he's just killed Demon, and then he's raced all the way over there. He's killed these two family members, and then he rose from the farm to the house.
Back to the house, yeah.
You know, and he just, like, I know Jason can sneak in houses like he's a bit of a ninja, but this is not Jason, you know, so...
We got the one guy who's just, like, trying to get this girl to sleep with him.
Yeah,
He's just like,
Jake with the stutter.
Yeah. So he wanders off and cries and gets killed. Then we follow her around as she gets naked and wanders around the house for 5 minutes before getting into bed.
and sees the body when she rolls over.
Yes,
She didn't see it as she climbed in.
Yeah, and so Jason kills her, or not Jason.
Yeah, not Jason kills her.
Then we follow the goth rock chick as she's dancing in a room.
Oh my god, like he walks into the room. And
She
then,
turns around and he's vanished.
Yeah, but he's hiding around the corner by the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And then he just walks in and he just stabs her, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I know this is Jason's motif, but like when you saw him do it in 2 and 3, that really worked with him walking around through houses. Like at that point he wasn't fully supernatural, but he'd lived in the woods for fucking 20 odd years, so he knew how to move stealthily. This person doesn't know that, so why not just scare her standing in the doorway? Why walk in the door quietly, close the door, and then hide around the corner and then come out? It just seems completely pointless.
It's trying to set up the horror tropes and repeat the formula.
Yeah.
But it just comes across as odd in this one.
Yeah.
Everything about not Jason is just odd.
Yeah.
But, that is kind of intended as well because it isn't Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We finally get to the final revelation because Reggie and Pam have gotten together. They've realised that Matt's dead, Grandpa's dead, all of the kids that were left in the house are dead, the 2 people that were fucking on the farm are dead, probably the 2 people at the farm are fucking dead too, and they can't find Tommy at all, so they're either thinking either Tommy's dead or he's Jason, because obviously he's been traumatized by the killings that he's taken on the mask and he's decided to do it. And by this point it kind of plays to that point, but you also know it's not Tommy, because the film hasn't given you enough evidence to put Tommy in that place. He's just there. He's just a character. And so they get chased by Jason into the barn.
That's right.
And Tommy does finally turn up to confront Jason. And if you're looking carefully, you can actually see that you can see the eyes in the mask behind for Jason's character. The first couple of movies, he only had one eye.
Right.
So the fact that he's got 2 in this, you're like,
That's not right.
that's not right.
But Pam takes him on with a chainsaw.
Yes.
It's like, yes! Slices him up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then chainsaw runs out of power. It's like,
Yeah,
oh.
it did.
But they end up, Jason takes his damage. Like, he doesn't grunt too much in pain. Like,
But you know it hurts.
it hurts
You
because
know
he's
it
looking at his bloody wounds.
Yeah.
And he's, just like, yeah, you're going down, Jason. You're bleeding.
You're going
this
down.
is not normal for you.
Yeah, it's like when you start to see the blood, you're like this, no, because the other Jasons, they bled, but it was like they were immune to pain.
Yeah.
They didn't even worry about it. This guy's a little bit back, a little bit reserved. He doesn't want to he's not just going to lunge at her and hope that his invincibility wears on. But they lure him to the top of the barn, don't they?
Yeah.
And they have a bit of a fight, and he gets knocked out of the window and falls. Well, he falls, and initially you think, oh, he's dead, but he does come back to try to grab Reggie one more time. They finally kick him off, and he falls onto the farm implement at the bottom and gets spiked through, and that's when you see the mask come off. And you realise it was... Roy? No!
Not Roy!
Not Roy!
The innocent paramedic!
The guy who was talking all the way through the movie, and the camera just lingered on him a little bit, but just enough that he just would kind of disappear again in the background. Roy.
You talking to me, Sheriff? Huh? Oh, I thought you was talking to me.
Not Tommy Jarvis, not the guy who was implied to be the killer since the last movie. So what's Roy's motive?
He's the father of the fat kid who got killed at the beginning. Yeah.
So why did he go and get revenge on the greasers that broke down outside? Why did he go and kill the farm people? Why did he kill everybody?
I think he's...
Why did he not kill the person that killed his son?
I tend to think that Roy just went mad.
No shit.
Well, like, I don't understand why he stayed so close to look after his son and not reveal himself to his son.
Yeah.
Like...
How did nobody else not know that was his dad, I guess?
Like, yeah, like, why? Why, Roy? Why? Because we get to the ending again where we get a bit of we get a dream sequence, don't we, where Tommy's lying in the bed and Pam comes up to speak to him and he stabs her in the gut.
Yeah.
But then Tommy wakes up And he's like, oh no, it was all a dream and I'm still kind of fucked up in the head from all the shit that I've seen. And, oh, what's this in a drawer?
Oh, I've kept Jason's mask with me this whole time.
Yeah. And
So was it me? Was it both of us?
yeah.
Shall I go and kill this person now?
Was the film so bad they just didn't show us Tommy's kills? Because because Pam walks into the room and he steps out from behind the door, doesn't he? Wearing the mask with the machete.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, so Tommy's now definitely Jason. No.
No. End of movie.
Iain, did you have any favourite scenes from The New Beginning?
Once again, just like with the previous one, it was just the kills, really. The story's there. It just suffers from non-direction, non-heart. You know, I really feel like if they'd walked into this movie with the idea that Tommy Jarvis was going to be the new Nancy Heather Langenkamp character for Jason Voorhees, then we would have been sailing through this movie. You would have had all the red herrings there, and you would have had Tommy being like, you know, people scared of him and not want to be by him, but it's actually this other killer, and then you could have brought Jason back. But you didn't. You really don't give Tommy enough in this movie to go, oh, he's either the hero or the villain.
Yeah.
He's honestly neither. I like the kill with the girl in the woods where she gets the shears to the eyes. I like the fact that my imagination does some of that work. The guy with the belt around his face, that's a pretty cool kill. You know, the guy running around on his bike getting decapitated, Mum being the meat cleaver to the face, Demon getting stabbed through the guts. Some of them just aren't as good as the ones in number 4 or some of them previous, but some of them are just enough to make you go, ooh, I'm watching a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, I think I'll just recap the kills like we did the last one. Times 2 stabbings in the nightmare at the beginning.
Yeah.
Victor kills Joey with an axe. We get a flare in the mouth. We get a machete neck slice. We get an axe to the back of the head. We get an axe to the stomach. We get stabbed in the guts. We got the naked lady getting sheared in the eyes gouged, head squashed to a tree. We get a neck sliced. We get stabbed through the back. We got a decapitation on a bike, a knife to the face, a knife attack off screen, a machete through the back, stabbed in the stomach by machete, more eyes gouged, and then pushed onto spikes. Yeah, I think this one literally upped the nudity count and the gore count of all of the movies yet again. Like, it's on that upward trajectory of...
But lowered the quality.
Yes. Yeah. Sadly, yes.
Sadly, yeah.
So yeah, I don't really have any favourite or memorable scenes other than all the kills.
Yeah.
Iain, do you recommend A New Beginning?
You know what? No, I do not. I actually finished this movie and thought to myself, hey, you could honestly just completely cut number 5 out of the series and flow Friday the 13th Part 4 into Friday the 13th Part 6. And it's the easiest way to keep the Tommy Jarvis story alive. I know that they try to do some things with this story. It just doesn't work. And even the guy acting as Tommy Jarvis, John Shepherd, I know he's probably a really good actor, and he did put a lot of quality work into his trying to work out what these kids would be like in his spare time. But it was just squandered by the director, and so it's what he's giving me from the Tommy Jarvis character just doesn't work because he's not in it enough. He really is not, and he doesn't say enough. You know, the guy in number 6 and Corey Feldman in number 4, that's kind of my Tommy Jarvises there. I'm happy with them because they give me some character, they give me some background or some lore about this fight against this mass killer that they're trying to prevent killing all these people. And in this one, it's not even him. It's fucking Roy. The film is so fucking blatantly obvious with that. I cannot fucking stand any production of TV or film where the camera will linger on a character I've not been introduced yet and expect me not to remember them. And then they turn up at the end and the production goes, haha, were you surprised? And I go, no! I was not.
Well, they certainly tried something different with the story this time around, with the formula being relatively the same. You know, have some shocks and some scares and kill a character every 7 or 8 minutes, throw in lots of nudity and chase scenes and put a mask on it and you're done.
Yeah.
This one really feels made for TV. It also has a feel of exploitation sleaze in some aspects. A New Beginning is what the studio wanted. To keep the Friday cash cow bleeding, to continue without Jason, but fans cried out at this installment, and the attempt to turn Tommy Jarvis into the next killer has not gone down very well. It was a bold choice to make with this story, and knowing where the story goes makes this film now feel out of place in the franchise.
Yeah, totally.
I don't really recommend this Friday. It was repeating kills, felt formulaic. Jason lost his menace and his impact on screen. The characters were not all that interesting, but there was some good 80s horror and nudity and gore. It's average for me. I don't hate it. It just feels cheap now. I don't have much fun rewatching this New Beginning. You know, Harry Manfredini's score still going strong though, reminding you this is a Jason movie and not some random slasher film. If Jason still haunts you, you're not alone. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Jason Voorhees is dead.